For more than 20 years, CTV has captured the moments that matter in our community. From our studios in St. Clair, you're watching Focus with Paul Dingeman.
Welcome to another edition of the Focus program. My name is Paul Dingeman. Glad you are along. Some very important information is going to come up in this section of the Focus program from our superintendent of the city of St. Clair, Warren Rothe. Welcome back to the show, sir. Nice to see you.
Yes, thank you for having me today, Paul.
Lots of things going on in the city. Let's bring me up to date on what's happening.
Sure. So there's a lot of activity in the city of St. Clair. We have the Magna International new factory.
Yeah.
On the north end of town. That is basically finished. They're still moving in and finishing some interior construction, but that's has been a great development for the city. Excited to see a lot more employees get hired and really fill that factory with activity.
When you drive by, even on the weekends, the parking lot is packed.
Yes.
With the employees, and I think they've got a delivery date of sometime in the summer of 2022 to get product to General Motors.
Yes, I think that's when they're going to be producing parts like now even, but the full-on production, full shift capacity, I believe, is going to be later in the summertime. So that's one thing in town. We also have the theater breaking ground in the Riverview Plaza parking lot. The Riverview Plaza parking lot's also going to be completely redone thanks to the support of the St. Clair County Community Foundation. So really excited to see downtown transform. Really excited. We've got a lot of road projects that are going to be bid out soon. Resurfacing Kearney Drive, most of that is grant funded. We have reconstruction of Fredmore Highway. We're going to be doing other street resurfacings throughout the town, mostly in the Meldrum Circle area. So lots of work going on. And then last but not least, as far as development projects, the Clinton Avenue bike path is nearing the end of the design finalization phase. We anticipate to be putting that project out to bid very soon, so that can be completed this calendar year as well. So lots of activities.
Let's go back. You started with Kearney Drive from Range Road all the way around to Fredmore Highway.
Yes.
That's a big chunk of highway.
Yes, it's over a mile of roads. We were able to get a grant and the grant amounts over $800,000 to do the resurfacing of Kearney Drive. It's mainly because it's the main truck route through town, and because they had that distinction, although it's not necessarily the worst off-road in town, we were able to be eligible for this one type of funding which funds routes like this. So
I don't think it's been resurfaced ever. I think it's from when it was originally built. I don't remember the exact dates and times.
Sure.
It's been a long time since it's had a lot of tender loving
Yes,
care.
and especially with the new housing development going in across the street from Gearing Elementary, there's going to be a lot more activity on that road. It'll be nice to have it all resurfaced and nice, because I think that development is about 50 homes on that property as well. That I believe they're already selling lots. I know they're very active on the Facebook and their website. The developer, they have a real estate agent who's taking information and stuff.
Yeah, they were prepping the land recently, and it looks like it's a large piece of land.
Yes.
There's going to be 50 new homes.
Yes, 50 new homes is what the site plan calls for.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Then you mentioned Clinton Avenue, which is going to be resurfaced too, and they're going to be not going to be resurfaced. It's just a bike path that's going to be put in.
Yes.
And it'll be on the north side of the street?
Yes, the north side of the street. It will connect Kearney Drive to M29. M29. Yes.
To get the people downtown.
Yes.
So the bike path is a statewide project. And they've got one bike path that starts over on Lake Michigan and is coming over, and it's going to actually come through St. Clair?
I don't know if it's going to connect directly through St. Clair, but for the last 20-25 years, the county's been working on the Bridge to Bay Trail, which is a regional network of trails. Our hope one day is to be able to tie in to a larger state of Michigan trail network. And again, that would probably involve going through some of the townships, so that's outside of my area. But it's all the more trails are a really great amenity, and I think it's very exciting to be able to be one of the first people, or when I say people, I mean communities in the county, to have obtained the funding in order to close this gap between the bike path that is on Kearney Drive now and, our downtown area.
Entertainment last summer was spectacular in the Riverview Plaza area. You alluded to the fact that the Vertons from Marine City with the Riverbank Theater are going to break ground shortly in the Riverview Plaza on the back side of the lot to build a 350-seat auditorium. Pretty exciting stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Can't wait to see that development continue to move forward. I think they're going to be doing something with steel as early as next week, perhaps, or at least the footings for the structure. That's what I was told yesterday. But they have a very aggressive timeline, and I think it's going to be a great benefit for the community to have a brand new performing arts center.
And the rec department and the group that was responsible for all that entertainment last summer, they're getting ready too?
Yes, and I think there's going to be even more concerts than there were last year.
No, really?
That is the plan. So
7 days a week, 24 hours a day music. But it appeared to draw a lot of people.
Yes.
And bring people to the community that have maybe never seen it before.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, it's a great draw. We're happy to bring people in the town and show them what St. Clair has to offer.
One sidelight, I talked with the harbor master the other day, and he said that he's getting filled up for the summer for almost every weekend.
Yes.
So that's positive too.
Absolutely.
All right, what else you got there?
So the big reason for coming on the show today is really just public information, transparency, outreach. We're going to be announcing this at the council meeting on the February 21st, but we want to tell our residents about something they're going to be getting in the mail in the next 2 weeks. They're going to be getting a public notice from the city that talks about how the city failed to correct certain repairs at the water tower in a timeline that was prescribed by EGLE, which is the Michigan Environment of Great Lakes and Energy. So want to talk through about that, explain what happened, what the city has done so far, and what we're continuing to do to resolve some of the repairs that were identified on the water tower. So
this was the water tower that we see with the St. Clair name on it on the
Adams Street.
Adams Street.
Yes.
Off of 9th, past behind the old Eddy Elementary.
Yes, that's the structure we're talking about. So in the late summer, EGLE came to do, every 3 years they come and do an inspection of your facilities. And they look at the tower, they look at the treatment plants, they look at, our management of the...
That's good that they do that.
Yes, absolutely. And when they were here, we were unable to go up to the top of the tower and show them, and some of the things they wanted to look at could only be done when the tower was drained, and then actually you put an inspector in there to, look and see what the conditions are. So one of the things that they wanted to make sure we had in place was installing fine mesh screens at certain openings on the tower. They were concerned with waterproof seals being installed on some of the access hatches and things like that, and so that's what they told us. They want to see us verify if those things existed, or if they didn't, replace them. And they gave us a deadline to do that. The deadline was Christmas Eve. So again, this is late summer. So in August, the city did an RFP for water tower inspection services.
Request for quote. Okay.
Yep. So we got a few proposals to go to inspect, do a thorough inspection, not just of the elevated tank, but the ground storage tank on the facility as well, because we knew that, yes, there are some critical items you go identify, but there was also a few other, repairs and maintenance, or just bring certain ladders or access hatches up to the latest OSHA standards that we wanted to do. So we thought the best course for step one was to get an inspection done to identify not just what had already been there, confirm what had been there, but also identify some new things. So that we started down that course, and once we had we verified the conditions that we assumed, EGLE and us assumed that were there, meaning the screens were not in place that should have been there. We identified a few other smaller pieces of work, repairs to do, and we went out for bids. Now, if anybody's tried to get quotes for things or prices in today's day and age,
your kitchen remodel.
Yes, your kitchen remodel.
New bathroom.
Yes,
or anything?
Our original request for bids to complete the repairs, which was done in about October, was unsuccessful. We didn't get any responses. So
Wow. Nobody quoted.
No quotes. So we went back to the company who did the inspection, Pittsburgh Tank, because they were actually capable of performing the work, and we negotiated an arrangement with them. We're going to have you come in and do the repairs. And then after that point, it was just a matter of scheduling. So again, now we're into early mid-November after the first, request for bids didn't return anything. So we had hired Pittsburgh Tank to do the repairs. Pittsburgh Tank came in December, approaching our December 24th, Christmas Eve deadline by Eagle. And they were able to complete some of the repairs. I know there was issues with the staff with COVID, as well as one of the days they showed up, it was snowing, and the hatches were frozen on the tower, and access. They weren't able to get in and access. So we failed to meet the deadline by Eagle, and the way Eagle's a regulatory agency, they have a job to do. They told us the deadline. We did fail to meet that deadline.
You were working.
We were working on it. We kept in close conversation with Eagle during that period of time. So, what does that mean? Why am I here right now? Because we failed to fix it by December 24th. We have to give notice to all of our water customers, and that means we have to mail a summary of what we've been talking about, with a few other boilerplate language that Eagle says we have to put in there, generic health and safety guidelines. So everybody's going to be getting, probably in the next 2 weeks, a letter from the city, a public notice saying we failed to complete the repairs by the required time. Here's what we've done. Here's what we're going to do. So again, no health concerns are identified with this. Water quality, we test it every day at the plant, out in the distribution system. We simply failed. The violation was we failed to get the fix on time. But again, we had a contractor identified. We had the repairs partially completed, but we weren't able to finish. So what do we have left to do? Well, we have one thing primarily, and that's to finish installing a steel collar on one of the hatches. Pittsburgh Tank is working on
picture number one.
Yes. So let's go to the pictures
Sam will
now.
put the picture up. The roof. This is the roof of the water tower.
Yes.
And
yes.
Glad I'm not the guy who had to climb up there. But where you see the fellow's hand, now you've got a screen, and then that's...
Yes, that's installing that screen, that was one of the things Eagle wanted us to do, and we were able to, again, we have been able to complete that item, but that's not all we still have that one hatchway that needs a steel waterproof collar installed on it. That's the remaining
of a hatch.
Yeah, similar kind of hatch. Yes. So we have yet to do that. We are working with the contractor to get that scheduled in the next few weeks. So again, that screen is a good picture of what we were able to do, how we were able to protect the opening in the tank, and become compliant with what Eagle told us to do. Now I have another picture as well.
Okay, number 2, Sam.
So this picture, again, just for reference, so the community knows what we've been doing. This wasn't one of the the critical items Eagle told us to address, but this is essentially the overflow tube on the water tower in case there was ever an emergency and the tower wasn't able to drain and pressure was building up. Excess water would be able to come out of there. We didn't have...
Similar to your hot water tank.
Yes.
There's a thing in your hot water tank at home in your house there that if there's an overflow, there's a valve that lets the excess water out. So this is the same thing.
Yes, absolutely. So again, Eagle said we needed to do the screens and some of the watertight seals. Eagle didn't mention this flapper valve, which is what it's called. But when we went to the inspection, which was our first step, was to have a third party come in and inspect the tower. That was an item that was identified. So again, that kind of led into the delay in getting the screens installed right away, as we had other issues we knew we wanted to address, and that was what was quoted. And again, we didn't get any bids on. So that is a thing, that's another improvement we were able to do. It wasn't one required by Eagle, but it's an example of us in this process. We identified other items. We were able to install this valve that prevents anything from getting up, into the tower, the water supply. And that's kind of where we're at right now.
The bottom line is there's nothing wrong with the water. The water is inspected all the time, and this had nothing to do with the taste of the water or the quality of the water. This was more of a I guess, I don't know if mechanical is the right word for it or not, but more of a structural kind of thing that Eagle was watching for.
Yes.
And wanted to make sure that everything was proper and correct.
Yes, I think that's a good way.
It took us a while to get it done.
Yes, I think that's a good way of doing it. And again, we still have that's the hatch that has to have a steel collar put on it. That's an outstanding item as of today, February 18th. But we're working to get that done, and once that's completed, we will be compliant with everything Eagle wanted us to do.
So then, once it's all done, does Eagle come back and do a final inspection and say, okay, you're great?
They may come out. I know they do informal visits from time to time, but when we complete a repair, those pictures that I showed you, we take the pictures, we show Eagle, this is the work we've done. We try, we communicate with them as much as possible on delays with contractors, successful repairs. So we anticipate a quick resolution to everything. And
was there any fines or a slap on your hand?
No fines associated with this at all. The biggest thing is notifying the public about what
went on.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. Well, it was a dull kind of a thing to talk about, but an important thing.
Absolutely. And so the mailing is going to be going out soon. It's going to be talked about at the council meeting. If people have questions, they'll be able to contact City Hall, contact the water plant. I encourage you to promote this video, and I hope it's been a good resource for them as to understand what's going on here.
Superintendent of the City of St. Clair, Mr. Warren Rothe, with information on anything you ever wanted to know about the water plant. That's about it for this edition of the Focus program. Thanks very much for tuning in. Till next time, I'm Paul Dingeman. See you soon.
Thanks for watching Focus with Paul Dingeman. Focus is produced at the CTV Community Television Studios in St. Clair. For over 20 years, CTV has captured the moments that matter to our community.